All right, I'm here today with David Renaudie from Massive Studios, and we're just going to be asking you some questions. We're going to pick your brain around game AI. So tell us a little bit how did you end up in game development, and particularly the research side of game dev?
And very naturally, it started when I was a kid, as many people in this room also. And it was a hobby for me, and it was a hobby that everybody would tell me that it would pass when I would, grow up, and apparently it didn't pass. Well, in parallel of that, of course, I studied data science, machine learning, and I found the best way to unite these two passions was to find this job in this industry and apply machine learning to video games. So that's what I'm doing today.
That's awesome. And yeah, I know a lot of us heard that you're gonna outgrow video games, and that day has not come for me. You're saying you're doing some interesting stuff with machine learning and video games these days. What are you most excited about from your work, and what is happening over there at Massive?
Lots of things are happening at Massive and at Ubisoft at large. We are a big community of practitioners that are applying or trying to apply as much as possible the latest advance of machine learning to make better games, to enhance the experience of players. That's everything that matters, everything that counts. And it's being done through a lot of different ways. So either by adding in-game ML components. It's not so, I would say, it's a trend, it's ongoing, but it's difficult to do, as you have seen in this talk. And it's a lot used also to help producing the game. So that's another aspect of the tools that we have also heard about. And the last aspect, the one I'm the most focused on right now, is player modeling, because we get a lot of data from our players, and leveraging this data using machine learning, again, to help building the best experience for players is really what I focus on right now with my team at Massive.
That's awesome. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of details in your talk, so no spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And with that said, and given how much cool stuff we've heard in the talks these couple of days, what do you think the future of game AI looks like? What is in the horizon from your perspective?
I see a bright horizon for ML and games globally. We have had a lot of inspiring tools. I see it coming in many different directions. I don't see a unique direction. I see that ML will be able to help crafting much more advanced games, more engaging experience for the players by a lot of means. And I think that, for example, having smarter NPCs, things like that, but also having better ways to produce content, richer content faster. We also saw in the speech that we have had today and yesterday, super interesting trends in, for example, automated tests. So everything about game AI, improving, helping to make thousands of hours of testing without having to do it manually and so on. So I see a lot of different ways in which ML can help. The last but not least would be also bridging the gap between the data we get from live players and the data we get from play testers. And this is also, I see here a very interesting lead where also cognitive science has a lot of, can have a super interesting impact.
That's very true, and I've heard from people attending that they have backgrounds in sociology and they're jumping into game AI, and that's an interesting crossover episode. With that said, and just a little bit of an appendix to that question, do you see any potential pitfalls or any risks of what we're doing that you're we need to wait around that?
Pitfalls. That's a good question. I think that the risk would be to over-engineer a solution, try to push ML just for the sake of, pushing ML because we like it, because we want to train models, we want to do fancy stuff, we want to use the latest trending algorithm on Eurips, on things like that. The risk would be to focus too much on the algorithmic side of it and lose sight from the concrete application that you're trying to solve. And from an industrial perspective, sometimes it can be seen as a little a limitation, like, okay, you have to scale down in terms of complexity of the models you want to use, but this constraint also adds creativity. So how can I make something efficient and answering the need with this level of constraint? So I would say that's one of the pitfalls that we should try to avoid. I could maybe think of a couple of other ones, but we'll see if we have more time.
I think that was a great answer. So just to close out the questionnaire, so as we were seeing in Monday morning's breakdown of the attendees, there's a lot of students here. There's a lot of the younger generation, probably you could say like the next gen, right? Incoming into the industry. What would be your one advice for the summer school attendees, particularly the students?
My one advice would be do stuff yourself. Do not believe what you're saying. What you're saying is probably true, but to get yourself hands-on experience, download this model or try to reproduce it. Get the data if it's available online. Build your own portfolio of projects that you have tackled. Because when it comes to working in the industry that I can talk about here, it's all about what you can do. And showcase what you can do. So I often ask to students or young applicants to jobs, okay, you have an interesting CV and lots of interesting projects. Now, let's make an exercise. What can you do? Show me what you can do. And the students who have really gone through hitting the walls, discovering by themselves the hard issues of, for example, training ML models on real data, so not clean data. These ones are going to get a few points and will be in advance, for example. So don't hesitate to go there, train yourself. And
you are also in our network.
we can stay on that.
All right, thanks so much, David. Great answers, and I'll be seeing you around.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye-bye.